Welcome back, everybody. If you're expecting to see a video on some chemistry materials, you found the right spot. This is Mr. Whitting, and this is our video for tonight's lesson. Tonight we're going to be talking about a special type of equation known as a net ionic equation. What are we going to use this video for? We're going to gain the basic understandings of net ionic equation. We're going to, tomorrow then in class, we'll look at what we discussed in the video. I'll answer any kind of questions you may have. We'll do a quick review. I have a couple little activities that we're going to work on in the beginning of the class to try and make sure that we're all up to par on what we need to do. And then we also have a lab activity where we'll actually witness one of these net ionic equations firsthand. Alright, so what do you want to have with you to make sure that you are prepared for everything that's going to go on tomorrow? First off, you should have your notebook so that you can pause the video and rewind it if you need be. As always, you know the routine. Make yourself a good set of notes so you can always refer back to as references. Write down any questions you may have for us tomorrow, and we'll figure out how we can get you to where we need you to be. Also with that, you'll have these three resources. You're going to want your periodic table of ions, and your solubility rules. If you don't have yours with you for some reason, you forgot to take your binder home last night, you got links on here that you can go ahead and use to go to pages that will get you everything you want. Alright, so net ionic equation. If you recall back to the previous unit, we looked at ions, we looked at ionic compounds, we talked about covalent molecules, balancing equations, we did all that stuff. And I continue to remember telling you that it's going to keep popping up and constantly need things to use. So this is one of those little parts called a net ionic equation. Alright, so as you can see here, I went ahead and provided you, you know me, Mr. Whitting, always providing you with all kinds of resources. Here's some solubility rules that you can refer back to use as examples and follow if for some reason you can't find yours. So if you need to, you can always rewind to this video, you can always pause it at this section, check your stuff using this solubility rules. Alright? Probably every one of us at some point has done this. We've taken salt in the crystal form and we've added it to water and it's dissolved. It's disappeared, we know it's in there, but we can't see it. If we go to the science level of this, you can see that what's technically happening over here is the salt compound is dissociating, one of our vocab words, and basically we're leaving ourselves with some sodium ions and some chlorine ions in this aqueous solution. Alright? Now, not every time does this happen. Sometimes in science world we're going to have a chemical mixed with another chemical and a precipitate, as we call it, forms. Maybe it looks like the weather outside today, it's snowing. Maybe it is all bright color change. Some kind of evidence that we see that a chemical reaction has occurred besides just the dissolving phase. All right? So an example of that is here. As you can see, you have lead nitrate with sodium iodide solutions. They're both dissolved. We have our solutions, we'd call these aqueous solutions, and when we mix them together we get this bright yellow change. Alright, and we call this a net ionic equation. As a scientist, you could predict these before you ever do the experiment, and you could have an idea what's going to possibly happen. And that's the whole goal behind this lesson, for you to get a better understanding of what to expect as you're in the real world doing these types of applications. So if you recall balancing equations down here in the bottom, we have our lead nitrate, our sodium iodide, our lead iodide, and our sodium nitrate. We added our 2's to make it balanced, and we have everything good. Once we checked back to our solubility rules, we see that lead nitrate's going to be aqueous. It's going to stay dissolved, which we see it up here. It's dissolved. We have our sodium iodide. It's dissolved as well. And when they mix together, we have one solution that's going to stay dissolved, and we have one solution that's going to be our solid. This is going to be our precipitate. So looking at this here, if you take a second and think about it, which one of the two, the clear liquid or the yellow substance, do you think's the lead iodide? Alright, if you can see down here, I already kind of gave you the answer. The sodium and the nitrate are called spectator ions. They're going to stay dissolved. A big precipitate is the lead iodide. So, what are the steps that we need to do in order to do this? If we look at here, step 1, you want to write out your balanced equation, just like you see it. So whether it's given to you already, whether it's in the word form that I've constantly stressed, taking those words and turning them into formulas, you want to write them out, you want to balance them, and then you want to check solubilities and make sure you have what you had on the previous slide. Okay? So that's step 1. Step 2 then is taking and breaking apart all of my aqueous compounds. So as you can see here, we call it the complete ionic equation, or the total ionic equation. Sometimes it's abbreviated CIE or TIE. And basically what I've done is I've broken apart my lead nitrate here. I have my Pb plus 2, my 2NO3 minus. The 2 on front came from the 2 back here. I have my 2 up front here, giving me my 2 sodiums and my 2 iodides. And then I have, don't touch him, he's the solid, he stays together. And then this broke apart, so we have 2 sodiums and 2 nitrate ions. So these are all my ions. At this stage here, we can go ahead and cancel out all those spectators. All those people that are at the show, but they're not really just doing anything but watching. So we go and we want to check everything on the left side, the reactant side, with everything on the product side. You notice here we have a lead 2 nitrate, Pb plus 2. There's not a Pb plus 2 here, so I can't cancel that. Here I have a 2NO3 minus, 2NO3 minus, so you see the red line going through canceling that. And then we have a 2Na plus and a 2Na plus. They can cancel out, leaving behind our Pb plus 2, our 2I minus, and our PbI2. Alright? And that's what we have left. We just basically clean it up, and that we call our NIE, or our net ionic equation, and it's Pb plus 2I minus yields PbI2. And that's what you want to kind of do. So to sum it up, as you can see here, the 3 basic steps that I just went through summed up for you. So if you decide not to take a picture of this, at least probably want to jot this down into your notebook. And then if you have any questions looking back at it, that's where you can write them off to the side, and we can take care of those tomorrow in class. But this is the basic concept that you want to follow as you go through. Now, what to expect for homework tonight, kind of, besides watching the video. The packet I passed out in class today, this one here, solubility rules and net ionic equations. You want to kind of just read through it, look through it, check it over, make sure you kind of understand some of it, kind of highlight or mark the parts that you're not quite sure about, and then definitely bring this back to class tomorrow, because the first portion of class we're going to spend some good time in small group settings working on these and making sure that we are prepared and we know what's going on. But just kind of read through this little packet that I provide you today. Check it over, look it over, mark some things you have problems with, that kind of thing, and then bring it to class tomorrow, like I said, prepared to kind of dive into it and really get a good handle on what net ionic equations are. Okay. And then besides that as well, like I said, I'm going to show you a little preview now of kind of what you can expect in tomorrow's lab. That's basically what you can expect tomorrow in class, and hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if anything, hopefully you at least got some good information on what we're going to be doing. And like I said, just kind of look through that little packet, make sure you highlight or mark anything that you have questions on, and bring it with you to class tomorrow and be ready for some fun with net ionic equations. Thanks again for watching.